Oh, it says live now, turn it.
Good morning,
Good morning.
Little Fox in the Phoenix to get us started. This is an old piece. So cute, though. I don't know if Quinn wants his music to be cute.
I don't think he does, actually. I'm just guessing now. I mean, I wouldn't like to speak for him on all accounts, but
Let's see. Okay, goodbye, the Fox and the Phoenix. Oh, good morning, Dr. Mary.
good morning, Dee. How are you?
Oh, sorry. How am I? I'm cold. I had a bad shower. It wasn't that it was cold, it was that it was like this. So it was kind of a sad little pathetic shower, which I will say is the only experience I've had since I got here of like, oh, I'm out in the country on a 100-year-old farmhouse. So if that's the case, then that's not too bad, all things considered. How are you?
I'm good. House is a little big without you in it, but apart from that, it's fine.
Well, I'm a very big person.
That's not what I meant.
I have to show you the sunrise from this morning. So I'm sure there's a better way to do this, but I don't know what it is.
Wow.
Yeah. So now you're looking at it from a screen through a screen. That's not a great adaptation, but posting it on Instagram. Isn't that stunning? I bounded out of bed this morning. It was, I woke up about 5 and thought, don't be stupid, go back to sleep. So I did. And at 6:15, I woke up and down the hallway, which faces west, I could tell that the wall was this beautiful rose pink. So I put on my slippers and my grandma's sweater and I tore downstairs and outside into the end of the driveway to catch the pictures, because it's just, you know, we have nice sunrises in Fargo and we actually get to see a fair amount of them, but not quite this uninterrupted. So it was beautiful. I still haven't seen the full moon. I saw it yesterday morning, but I haven't seen it at night, which is super disappointing because now it's not full anymore, but it's all right. It's still there. I know it's there. I made some really good bread yesterday. Oh, I have to show you that picture too. I mean, I could show you the actual bread. I didn't eat it all, but I'll save you the details. This is very fancy looking to me.
Oh, interested.
Yeah, it's fig and date. I felt very farm wifey.
Have you gone out and milked any cows yet?
No, but I think I'd like to. Actually, I bet I wouldn't like to milk cows. Have you ever milked cows? You have.
I have.
Yeah, how'd that work out for you?
It's not the most pleasant thing in the world to do.
That's so weird.
You also sat under something that, if it got in a mood, could kick you to death if it wanted to. So
That's true. That is true. Yes. So you know what's weird about doing this on my computer is that I can see us on live stream and on Zoom, and on live stream it's delayed. No, yeah. Live stream on Facebook, it's delayed. So like I'm doing this, but on Facebook, it's not doing that yet. So it's very confusing. So I'm going to get off of that. No sense watching myself twice. That feels narcissistic even for me. So we're talking today about extreme fears. And I want to give you this story from yesterday. So yesterday I was inside writing and reading and doing some work, and it really turned out to be a beautiful day yesterday. So I thought, I'm going to go take a turn about the garden, because there's a beautiful, I mean, it's on property. So I was walking around the garden.
Jane Austen reference.
Yeah, I know. I feel very Jane Austen-y. I should have just brought corsets and long dresses, but sadly I don't own either of those things. So I'm walking around and I thought, I'm going to go walk on the gravel roads. So one of the roads near me is actually kind of busy for a farm road, but I thought I'd probably be all right. So I walked about 3 miles, and 2 trucks passed me in that time. And as I saw both of them coming, I had this irrational, imaginatory, I don't think that's a word, moment where I thought, there's going to be multiple men in these trucks, and they're going to stop their truck, and they're going to pick me up, and they're going to take me, and they're, like I went down a very dark path very quickly that ended in murder and me being dumped in a ditch on the side of the road. Like, where is that coming from? Most people are not rapists and murderers, despite what people in high political office want to say. So I literally was like apoplectic with fear. And then I realized, oh my gosh, my phone only has like 8% battery. And then I thought about Drew Shadeen and how her phone ran out when Alfonso Gonzalez, I think that's his name, took her. And I mean, I constructed a completely horrific, terrible story, not once, but twice. And I realized that some of it is that we live in a culture that educates women to be terrified of that kind of instance. And that I have bought into that lock, stock, and barrel. And some of it is just that I have a dumb, active imagination that can go dark really, really fast. And, so I tried to overcome that by giving a friendly wave both times. And, they barely acknowledged me, in part, of course, because what do they care? I'm out on a country road. They're on a country road going somewhere. And the reality is that women of a certain age, of which I am, become invisible. So they may not have even noticed me. And so then, okay, so those 2 cars go past. And then I'm walking back and I'm listening to a conversation with Brene Brown and a man, Ibram, I can't get his last name, but he's written a new book about being anti-racist. And I'm listening to this, just this terrible story about a scientific study that was done in 1896 that basically concluded that Black and brown people were going to make themselves extinct because they were so barbaric and they were so, unable to be human. And I'm listening to this story and it's so terrible. And I hear in my mind what I think is like a, hey, hey. And I look over and it's a farm dog. And he's 1/8 of a mile from me. I'm tired of giving all things I don't know male pronouns. The dog is 1/8 of a mile from me. And it's coming straight at me, barking hard. And I, again, panic. And I raise my hands like this because I think I don't want him to eat my fingers off. I mean, it's just a dog. Although we had an interaction with a dog this summer that was super scary, which has made me a little bit skittish about dogs all of a sudden. And I don't know what this farm dog's gonna do. So it walks behind me, barking at me, and I just walking and my heart's like this. I mean, none of those were 100% irrational, but they were mostly irrational. And it made me think, well, why would you start from such a terrible place of fear? So after that long introduction, my question to you, Dr. Mary, is, did you have, or do you continue to have, irrational fears that are not necessarily not based in some small semblance of truth, but that have not been, that are certainly greater than what your reality would suggest? Don't say no, because that's a bad buildup if your answer is no.
Yeah, no, I'm good. No, no, actually, I say that partly in jest, but partly as a wee bit of a segue. That was my stock response. I was kind of afraid of everything, giving it some thought. You asked me last night when we talked about this, what we're going to talk about. And I said, I'll have some examples and let me think. I was afraid of everything when I was drinking. I had this great fear because when you drink, and I know this isn't just me because of the really helpful conversations you have in AA, or some of this was the conversations you and I had with our counselor, and the ones I was having on my own about fear, because an addict has a lot of fear. Some of it is fear of withdrawal. We talked about that. I didn't realize that's almost always the driving force that stops someone from saying, you know what, I need help, because you're afraid.
I moved my chair and missed it. What's the fear that does that?
You're fear of withdrawal, the cold turkey thing.
Yeah.
A lot of people are just say, I know I can't. Mercifully that happened to me and I don't remember it. And then I was put in a coma. Again, you and I have been quite lucky about this, especially me, but it's fear of stopping, fear of not being able to, fear of losing control. I had this system that I thought worked, but it got me through the day. And it was, you hear it all the time. I was doing my job, and I wasn't doing a bad job of my job. And I thought then everything was fine. I had no idea that my home life was a wreck, because I thought I was managing that too.
Yeah.
And that was a fear. I was afraid of losing that. Why I bring my keys with me everywhere. I was afraid of being homeless. But one of the things my counselor said to me, one of the counselors I had, was, it's an emotion. And if there's, it's history is replete of these philosophers, when even Plato said fear is the most honest of your emotions. And if you are completely lucid, if you don't let it get control of you totally, they say it can be a healthy thing. It protects you from danger. It lets you know of your limitations. It warns you of danger. I think I've said that one. So in a lot of respects, it can be helpful to, it's almost like a healthy amount of fear will never let you, this is almost a joke, but never let you say that statement. What's the last thing you say before you meet a nurse? Hey, dude, hold my beer and watch this. If you're afraid of doing something, then you won't do it. You're protecting yourself. So then the fear of letting go. I had to let go of drinking to get better, but I was afraid of doing that.
Yeah.
But then I was afraid of, when I started being able to think, I thought, well, what can I still do anything? Will I be single and homeless? Will you even, this is getting just to my example, will you even be able to just be bothered to look me in the eye?
Yeah.
What have I left behind? Was afraid of that. And then for about a year, I was afraid of, I suppose it'd be failure. I was afraid of a lapse or a relapse. I was afraid of drinking again. I was really, really afraid of that first plane ride you and I took.
Yeah.
And then I was afraid of going to Ireland. And everything. And then, you even said to me, look, it's going to be fine. I believed you. You get control of your fear, and it was fine. And it turned out to be perfect. But there is fear in addiction, and there's fear of stopping. And that's why a lot of people don't.
So I heard you talk about all of that, and I agree with that fear piece. I think what I would say to that is none of that was irrational. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't irrational to think, my gosh, I'm afraid to see what my body will do when I stop drinking. That's not irrational.
Oh, but you can, irrational is relative to who's feeling the fear, I think.
Yeah, I guess that's true. But what I would say from an outside perspective is irrational about drinking is the idea that you can, as an alcoholic, you can justify staying in an alcoholic state because the potential of not drinking will be worse. That is irrational. Because even if our marriage had fallen apart, you had lost your job, and let's just go with those two things. Even if those two things had happened, you would still be in a better place than you were when you were drinking.
Well, yeah, probably, but
I mean, because you would have rebounded.
yeah.
You know what I mean? You still would have had your PhD. You still would have had the potential to go out and be successful. I'm not dismissing the loss of a marriage and a job at all. I'm not dismissing that. But even those losses are better than where you currently were as a drinker. But you didn't know that because you'd created an irrational foundation for yourself that, okay, things might not be great, but they're better than anything else.
Well, of course, there's also fear of the unknown.
Well, and that's true for all of us. So what I'm going to try to do today is I'm going to go back. I'm going to charge my phone better. I'm going to go for another walk, and I'm going to try to not be so ridiculous. I'm going to go the different direction though, because that dog really did scare me, and that felt legitimate. It didn't do anything to me, but I don't want to test the dog on a second day. But you know, my big fear before I got here was the dark, and it's been okay. And it's been okay because with some help from friends and you and other people, I brought some devices with me. I have night lights and flashlights and all kinds of things that keep it from being scary. If I had to be in this house by myself in the utter darkness, I would be terrified. But I'm not, because I figured out how to make my fear rational. It's okay to be afraid of the dark, but it's not okay to not do something because you're afraid of the dark. So I guess that's the takeaway for today. It's okay to be afraid of what's on the other side of getting sober. It really is. It is scary. If we were to go back, and I'm sorry this is running long, but if we were to go back and look at my journal, in addition to saying how stupid I felt, my other great residing theme is how afraid I am of what is coming next. That's there. It's an enormous life transition. So there's no shame in being afraid.
No, there isn't.
Trying.
It's what you do with the next that's the important part of the journey, I guess.
The first little step, the next little step. Okay, Dr. Mary, we should go. We're at 19 minutes. I'm sorry, my preamble was so long, it kind of cut this off. But it does give you some weird insight into how my funny little brain works, for good or for bad. All right, everybody, have a fabulous long weekend. I think we'll do a Monday one, won't we, Dr. Mary?
Yeah, why not?
We'll focus it on Labor Day or something. So we'll see you on Monday. Hey, this is a big traditional drinking weekend. Try to drink less. Try to be a little kinder to your drinker if you are out with them. Remember, they're doing the best they can, and you are too. Have a great day. Bye, Dr. Mary.
See you later, lover. Bye.
Bye.
You too.